Next, we will hear the AI PC and bust some myths when Microsoft's Morten Jensen and Atea's Daniela Rubule takes the stage.
Ooh, that's fascinating, isn't it? So let's welcome Daniela and Morten to bust some myths. Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
Hey. Good afternoon.
So we have a pretty interesting topic at hand here. So let's see by show of hands how many of you know what a Copilot+PC is. Very few. So I'm not going to ask out of those few how many actually have one. Maybe someone does? No one. Well, then for us, today's goal is to have at least half of you go back from this event and say to your manager, like, this is the PC that I need, this is the PC that my team needs. But the way that we're going to do this is we're going to play around with the concept a little bit. Because when we talk about Copilot+PCs, over our experience, we still see that there are a lot of misconceptions in the market. And that's why we have Morten here to help us clear those up. But we're going to try and do it in a pretty interactive way. So this is the time to get your phones out. This is the one presentation where we can do that. And let's play Spot the Myth. So from the three statements that we're going to share on the screen, you will need to find the one that is wrong. That is the misconception, that is the myth. And let's bust those myths during these 20 minutes. So get your mentees in order. Everyone has it open? Yes, so let's go ahead. So your job is to spot the myth. Oh, can we go back here? Do you see? Is it playing for you guys? Yep. So out of the three statements, which one is the correct one? No statements. Can we ask the team in the back to launch the activity? OK, we have a little technical issue.
Or we do it the old-fashioned way.
We do it the old-fashioned way. No worries. That's not a big challenge for us. So there are a couple of common misconceptions. So you can actually see the myth right here. What we normally ask people is to understand how much do they know what is a Copilot+PC. And typically, we get answers like, it's running on an NPU, it can manage AI features on the local device. But there's also a pretty common misconception that having a Copilot+PC means that you also need to have an M365 or otherwise Copilot license to be able to do a lot of those functions.
Right.
So Morten, maybe you can clear that up for us and talk a little bit about what do Copilot+PCs actually mean.
I'd love to. So the Copilot+PC is a brand that Microsoft created a year ago, a little bit more than a year ago. It is a brand that all PC manufacturers can use, so Windows PC manufacturers can use to put on their PCs if they meet a certain requirement. So we've talked a lot about, in the past, CPUs, and we talked about GPUs, but now we're also talking about NPUs. So from a silicon point of view, all manufacturers now have processors out there with an NPU on it. And an NPU, very simplified put, is an AI chip that they now put on the PC, and then they can run AI services, AI models, small models, but still AI models locally on the device. And here I just want to, so the one, because it's not going to be more techy than this, so if you want more tech to this, I invite you all to go to visit our friends at Intel. They have a demo on this, and they can talk into the nitty-gritty techie stuff. So go to Intel afterwards and see their demo on this. Now the new thing here is the NPU part, so the AI chip. On top of that, obviously, we put some kind of BIOS or YEFI. We put Windows on top, and Windows now is still Windows 11 like we know it, but it is in 2 different versions. Or let's put it another way, if you have a Copilot+ PC, Windows will unlock features that you don't have if you have a regular device or a regular PC. Then, obviously, like Daniela, you said, we hear a lot of misconceptions saying, yeah, but we need a Microsoft 365, so the Office Microsoft 365 Copilot license to run Copilot PCs, which is not the truth. You can use both individually, they work fine individually, but there is no hook between the two. They're not depending on each other. You can easily run Copilot+ PCs with the Windows features without having a Copilot M365 Copilot license. And then we'll get back to that a little bit, but one of the biggest opportunities with devices with an NPU in it or a Copilot device with a 40 TOPS plus NPU in it is the opportunity now to either build your own AI models to run locally on your device, or to get third-party application providers and their applications to run either hybrid, meaning both AI services in the cloud, but also on the device. So I think that sums up pretty much what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what we want you to take away from what Morten just explained. So pretty simply, Copilot+ PC, Windows 11 eligible device, that has an NPU, has more than 40 TOPS, and is able to run different AI functionalities locally without any kind of need of licenses, without any need for M365 Copilot, or anything else. Basically, you're unlocking the different features of what AI can give us on your device, no network connection, no nothing acquired. Is that right, Morten?
Correct.
So the other statement we would have had, but we're going to do the old-fashioned way, is, again, there are a lot of conceptions when we start talking about the customized apps or having AI locally on your device. One of those bigger misconceptions, since we're talking about the Microsoft environment, we're also talking about Windows as the platform for AI, is that only Microsoft apps can access the NPU capacity and capabilities for Copilot+ devices. Now, this is not correct, because in the market we have already a lot of ISV opportunities for available applications that run using these, the capability and capacity that the NPU provides. On top of that, what Morten will talk a little bit about in just a few seconds here is that there's a huge benefit for you to build your own applications by using Windows AI Foundry that is basically a great toolbox for developers to be able to solve your own customer-based problems and challenges that you might have, which you would want to solve locally on your devices. So a little bit of that, Morten, maybe.
Sure. So, like we already touched upon this. So we know from over here on the right, in CPU, GPU, we've known these two like processors. So the central processing unit, the graphic processing unit, we measure speeds in gigahertz now, and the NPU is measured in TOPS. So I think let's maybe jump to the next one, which is the more interesting one. So Copilot+ devices and then 40 TOPS or plus 40 TOPS NPUs will now be able to run a variety of different applications where you offload the CPU. So that is going into the latency and performance. It's also going into low bandwidth and obviously cost efficiency. But the essential is you take some of the workloads that usually were on the CPU and you move it to the NPU, and the NPU is much more efficient, and it's a much more the performance is higher and it's much more efficient in terms of battery. So out of the box, you will perceive your device as being faster with a longer battery time, but it obviously does much more than that, because we're also trying to move some of the services that you used to run on the cloud. So for instance, they can be large language models that you used to run in the cloud. It can be Copilot or Gemini or ChatGPT or whatever. You probably know a lot of them already. We're taking some of that functionality and putting it on the device. And the thing behind this is that we're thinking of this also to be play within the regulated industries. So think banking, think public sector, where public cloud, public AI is sometimes a little bit challenging to cope with. Now there is an opportunity now to actually build your own small models. We have a tool set for this. I think we'll come back to that later on, but we have a tool set ready for this already. And what we're seeing in the market right now, there will be announcements next week on Ignite, in 2 weeks, and I think it is, from Ignite. But what we're already seeing now from third-party vendors is a huge interest of coding or developing their applications to run both on the cloud, but also locally on your device, because there is so much efficiency to gain. I've named a few here. Adobe is one. Some of the more interesting ones is McAfee. So I don't know how many were with the keynote. So Juha's keynote this morning, there was like this deep fake, there was a website to identify deep fake. McAfee already built that into their software to run on the NPU, so you'll get that instantaneously on a Copilot device. If you run McAfee, you'll instantly know if a video you're running, whether it's a deep fake or not. So that is some of the examples that we're putting now down on the device rather than having a cloud service run it.
So basically, what you will hear a lot in the market space, and what we from an Atea perspective have seen over the past several months, is that everyone is talking a lot about the specifications. We hear terms like NPU that Morten just explained, we hear terms like TOPS, but there are very few who talk about what do these devices actually do. Because you're not investing your hard-earned money into something that just has a longer battery life or that can run functions a bit faster. Let's be honest, most of us don't even use those features, with spending most of our days at our desks and writing emails, surfing the web, and doing PowerPoints. However, what very few are talking about are these additional features and additional opportunities that we can unlock by using Copilot+PCs. And you're going to see a few of them in the video right here. So if we can play that, please.
So there is already some features in Windows that are being unlocked, like I alluded to before. Recall, click to do, semantic search or advanced search, and studio effects is just to name a few. But in the next couple of weeks, we'll be announcing a lot more. We're also going with Windows into agentic operating system, or an agentic OS, which means that we're we're building in agents to do something contextually in terms of what it is that you're doing on your screen right now. So a lot of exciting news are coming out of Ignite, so stay tuned for that.
And to cover a few of things you might be thinking, and also the connected myths. So something that comes to mind is, but why do we need that on our devices? How often are we actually fully offline to need to run these functions in an offline setting? So some of the things that come out from that is there's an assumption or a myth that hybrid AI, or the possibility to do functions both locally and on the cloud, will force the ISV apps to route those processes through Azure, meaning that that's not a hybrid solution anymore. However, that is wrong. Currently, we already have, as Morten already showed, applications from different vendors available that can run and actually be able to switch between the local and cloud AI quite seamlessly. On top of that, one of the bigger benefits is how we can look at privacy and security when these functions are done on a local device. And that's on top of the already increased advantages when we look at Copilot+PCs when it comes to security, especially with the Pluton chip. So Morten, maybe a little bit from your side on what does it mean, hybrid AI?
Sure. So I think let's just start with the fundamentals. So like I also said before, cloud AI is what we already know today. So from Microsoft, it's Copilot. There's Gemini, there's ChatGPT. So essentially the services, and I think there was also AI. There's an AI for everything kind of website. So the 42,000 that you had talked about this morning, that's cloud AI services. You prompt something, it takes some time, it generates an answer, and it gets back to you. Now on the other side, local AI. Local AI is what we run on Copilot+ devices. It's smaller models, so it's not large language models, it's smaller models. It can be generative, it can also go into face recognition, picture. There is different elements or different categories of already pre-set or pre-coded models that you can use. You can even copy from the tool directly into Visual Studio, and if you have a little bit of knowledge in Visual Studio, you should be pretty up and running pretty easily with a model that only runs local. And I would say the biggest advantage of having something run only local is that data doesn't leave the device. It doesn't leave the device. It never goes to the cloud. So you can run small models still, but relatively advanced models that does something in your environment or in your company. Maybe small productivity services where you code for a group of people or maybe a department or the whole company, and it never leaves the device from the employee. The data never leaves the device. And then in the middle, and this is what we see more and more coming, is the hybrid scenario where you run whatever you can on the device, but if the task requires more power or a larger language model, then it goes to the cloud. Obviously, then data doesn't reside on the device anymore, but we see more and more companies start coding a hybrid scenario. And maybe just taking a reference back to what happened a few weeks back at Canalys, because there were in Barcelona, there was a session on this specific topic, so cloud, local, and hybrid. And according to Canalys, in a very short time frame, so we're talking not 5 years from now, according to them, 80% of everything that has to do with AI is something that sits or is being is being done on the edge and not in the cloud anymore. 80%, which means that a huge amount. So they foresee a huge amount of the data that are being crunched in terms of AI models will sit in the edge. And we believe that a big part of this has to do with the evolution we're doing now on the device side, both on technology, also on the operating system. We're making Windows now the most open operating system for AI. We're opening the AI so that you can code for it, you can embed agents, etc. So super excited to see the hybrid scenarios, but also local scenarios, and I think we'll be starting seeing a lot of really cool small AI services running on devices very shortly.
So if local is the new thing that is coming, and that is, well, not coming, it's already here, that we can unlock on Copilot+ PCs, then hybrid is the goal for that. And maybe, Morten, a little bit on Windows AI Foundry and how to unlock the possibilities of local.
Sure. So Foundry, Windows AI Foundry is actually a new tool set for developers. So before we had Azure AI Foundry, and I think it was called Windows Runtime. So at Build this springtime, we merged the two. So now we have, because before we were either coding for Azure or we were coding for device, or developing for device. So we put those two things together under the umbrella, calling it Windows AI Foundry, so that now when you're coding or developing an application or an AI service, you now both have the possibility to do either local, device only, or do a hybrid development for cloud and local. And that is essentially what the AI Foundry means. What we also released in the spring timeframe was the AI Developer Gallery, which is the framework or toolbox, if you will, where I think there's allowed 25 different categories or different services where we already coded the base model, going to text and image or video and sound, anything you can dream of in terms of services on AI. We already pre-coded that, and you can get the code from the gallery and copy it directly into Visual Studio, and you can do your customization there. Really exciting.
So if we want to leave you with a few things after these a little bit more than 20 minutes, sorry for that team, is that Copilot+ PCs are already here. So it's not something to look ahead super far in the future. It's not a question if, it's a question when exactly for you, when is the right time. And we would want to ask all of you, if you're interested in finding out more, there's Intel who you can visit, but also just around the corner, there is the Copilot+ PC and Atea Speakeasy, where you can check out the devices themselves. You can have a demo. And if you run through a demo, we actually have a little bit of a surprise for you, and you can join the Speakeasy for a nice drink or maybe two. With that, find out more about Copilot+ PCs, talk to the vendors and Atea people here. And thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Morten and Daniela. Thank you.